Hello, BBE family. Happy Thursday. I am super pumped to hang out with you guys today. If you are in the future and you're watching the replay, I'm going to need you to hashtag replay. The point of this is so that I can get to know you guys, get to know your names, see who is active in this group, who is watching these lessons that I'm giving you guys. And so if you are watching in the future, make sure you hashtag replay so that I can see you and meet you and all the things. If you are watching live, hello, welcome. So excited that you're here. Y'all just say a little something as you are showing up live. Tell us where you are from. So you guys can connect with each other if you see someone else in your state or in your area. That'll be super important and super fun for you guys to do. So if you're watching live, you're just tuning in, say hello, tell us where you're from, and feel free as I am teaching you guys to give hearts, comments, whatever, thumbs ups, whatever it is that kind of pumps me up. It gets me excited. And I'm just gonna shamelessly ask for it. So y'all just connect with me as I am teaching you guys these 5 focus tips for sharper photos. And that way, again, I can see who's here. Hello, Brittany Mixon. Hey, friend. Hey, Melissa. I haven't been able to watch live in forever. Oh, dang it. Well, here it is. Hopefully noon will be a good time for you. And definitely go into, I know you're in coaching in the academy, go in there. We had a ton of lives this morning that you can catch up on too. The replays will always be here, so that's good. Hello, Melissa. Okay, so everyone's filing in and I know it's lunchtime. I don't want to waste any more time. So today we're going to talk about 5 tips for sharper photos. And before we dive into that, I really want you to make sure that you sign up to watch our free beginner photography class. It's totally free. You're going to learn the 5 essential things you need to start, how to shoot in manual mode, and the 1 type of light you need to shoot in for professional photos. So if you haven't yet watched that free beginner class, it's less than an hour. You're going to need your camera. You're going to need your notebook, your pens. The link is down below this video. You can go ahead and sign up for it and then watch it this evening whenever you have time. So here we go. We're going to talk about the 5 focus tips for sharper photos. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because when I was in my first year, I learned about shutter speed. I learned about aperture. I learned about toggling my focus. I learned about light. I learned about all these things, but I felt like my images weren't as sharp as I wanted them to be. Now, that has to do with a lot of things. In the one-on-one course, if you're in there, you know that the focus module is massive and there's a lot that goes into it. But just to kind of give you a pump before your next shoot and some things that you can easily implement, I want you to write these things down and implement them at your next session. And then y'all come back and let me know if it helped at all. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 tips and a bonus tip for you to implement at your next session for sharper photos. Okay. So here we go. Without any further ado, let's get to it. So number 1, and this is y'all, I didn't know this setting until 2 years in. So if you're just starting out, you're way ahead of me than I was at your position. So you're welcome. But there is a button on your camera and it is called autofocus. It's in autofocus mode. And what this mode does is it helps the camera itself, helps you have sharper in-focused images even with your subjects moving. It's literally a built-in focus machine. So even if your kid's running or the dog is running, you can put it on this mode. It's one little button on this mode, and your camera is going to help you. It's gonna give you a little push to make sure the image is in focus even though it's moving. So if you're a Nikon user, this is called AFC, or autofocus continuous mode. Where's my camera? I think it's in the closet. I'm not gonna get up. But what it is, it's on the side of your camera. If you have like a 750 or 850, if you don't have those, you might have to look up this button where it's at. But if you're holding it, it's on the side of your camera, not on the back, not on the top, it's on the side, and it's got AF on it. You click the button, you push it in, and you put it on AFC. What that's doing is your focus is gonna be continuous. And so it's gonna help you capture that movement a lot better if it was on AFS for single, okay? So make sure if your subjects are moving, and I honestly leave this mode on all the time, because if you're in the posing course, you know that even when I'm doing portrait poses or still poses, I'm still having them move a little bit so that it has that authentic look to it. So I typically leave this mode on unless I'm taking bridal details or a tablescape, like unless I'm shooting something that is inanimate, that doesn't move at all, okay? So just leave it on AFC. If you're Canon, this is called AI servo, okay? It's the button that you put on, the setting that you put on, if your subjects are moving around, and it helps you capture that sharp image, okay? So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is you have to prioritize your shutter speed, okay? So if you are doing the AIS system, I always say start with your aperture, because your aperture affects the way that your images look, right? Depending upon if it's blurry, how many people are in focus, and all the things. And your ISO is next, and then your shutter speed. But if you do the AIS system and you are noticing that your shutter speed is below 1/250th of a second, you need to change some settings around. If you have a super active kid, dog, dance party, you have to have a high shutter speed. The higher, the better. There is no penalty for having a high shutter speed. The higher, the better when it comes to sharp in focus photos. Because if you think about it, the shutter speed is doing like this, okay? And it's capturing whatever is in this frame as the shutter closes, okay? So if your shutter speed is super fast, it's gonna capture that moment. It's gonna capture that motion, and it's gonna be sharper than if it was a slower shutter speed, okay? So high shutter priority. In our one-on-one course, I teach that my BB rule is don't ever go below 1/250th of a second. It's just an easy rule to remember. 1/250th of a second, don't go below that. But again, if your priority is to get sharp photos with fast moving subjects like cars, horses, animals, kids, you have to have a priority of high shutter speed, okay? The higher, the better. All right, tip number 3 is a higher aperture. Now, I love, and I know we all love to try to really like get to this limit of shooting wide open. If we spent thousands of dollars and bought an 85 1.4, we really want to use that 1.4 because we paid for it, right? But the problem with shooting wide open is that it's a lot harder to get those crisp, sharp images. It's possible. It's lots and lots and lots of practice, but it's harder. It's possible, but it's harder, okay? So an easy BB rule is don't go below aperture 2.8. Start at 2.8 and then maybe work to 4.0. If your goal is like, I really just want in focus sharp images and I'm not getting it, okay? AFC, autofocus continuous, or AI servo, put on that setting. Highest shutter speed possible that still gets you a properly exposed image. And then an aperture of 2.8 or 4.0, depending on what you're shooting, okay? That's going to help you get crisp in focus images, okay? Sharp focus tip. Tip number 4 And this is something that I teach in the one-on-one course that has like mind blown a lot of my students. And I love hearing this because it's one of those lessons that I added in kind of after the fact, because I was like, you know what, like this is something that like they need. But you want to try to create a human tripod with your body. Why? Because whenever you create a human tripod, when you are super still, it helps avoid the camera shake. Because we're human, we're moving, we're shaking, we're breathing, and our camera can only do so much. Okay, even if you have high aperture, even if you have high shutter speed, even if you have it on the AFC continuous mode, you're still human and you still move quite a bit during sessions, am I right? So what you need to do is create a human tripod, which means elbows in, and the camera needs to be close to your body, obviously, because you're looking through it. But I see a lot of photographers who shoot with the live screen on, and the more your arms are protruding out, the more shake you're going to have. Think about it. Watch, just do this little science experience real quick. Get your elbows close in and watch how still your fingers and your hands can be. Now do the same thing, this, and watch how still or not still your hands can be, okay? Those of us who look through the viewfinder and have our elbows in and it's close to our body, we're creating that like human tripod. 2 hands and our body closed in, and we're like shooting, we're breathing, and we're trying to create that human tripod. And this is one of those things that like you're not going to find on YouTube, but I have found that it helps tremendously. Okay. And I also teach this, if you're sitting or whatever, pop your knee up, hold an elbow down and shoot. Always have like at least one elbow attached to your body to create that human tripod so that you can get as still as possible and you don't have to worry about out of focus images because of human camera shake. Okay. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, slow the heck down. Slow down. Sometimes I see my students at like their retreats and stuff, and they're all over the place. They're shooting, they're backing up, shooting, and look, y'all, I'm a fast shooter too. But again, if your problem, if something that like grates your nerves is that your images are out of focus, these are the little tips that are going to help. Slow down, take a breath, breathe, just slow the heck down. Take your time, okay? So I'm going to go over the 5 tips and then I'm going to give you your bonus tip, okay? Which is probably going to be the game-changing one. Again, autofocus, continuous mode, or AI servo. That's your camera helping you out, trying to get moving subjects in focus. 2, high shutter speed. Don't go below 1/250th of a second. Just don't do it. Higher, the better. The higher, the better. Number 3, a higher aperture. If you're having a problem with focus and sharp photos, it might be because you're trying to shoot too wide open, which means a super low aperture because you're trying to get your money's worth out of that lens. Don't tell me you haven't done that before, because I know I have. And then number 4, make a tripod with your body. Put your elbows in, look through the eyepiece of your camera instead of the viewfinder, because this is going to be more camera shake than this. Okay? Number 5, slow the heck down and breathe. Okay? Take your time. Unless you're doing a mini session. There goes my phone. Take your time. Okay? If you have a problem with out of focus images, it's because you're going way too fast because you're nervous and you're like, slow down. Okay? Now, bonus tip. And this is something that I didn't even know I needed until like 3 years in. So again, if you are brand new, you know way more after this lesson than I did in year 3. Okay? You're welcome. If you're having trouble with autofocus images and you're doing everything right, you're putting on the right mode, you're having a high shutter speed, you're having a high aperture, you are doing your human tripod, you're trying to be as still as possible, but still like you are slowing down, you're like, ooh, I'm not gonna be crazy anymore, I'm gonna slow down and breathe. If you're doing all the things, you're doing the whole module, the focus module of the one-on-one course, you're doing the things and you're still like, what the heck is the deal? Why aren't my images sharp? Bonus tip, get your camera and your lenses professionally cleaned and calibrated. Y'all, I went years and hundreds of weddings later without knowing that this was even a thing. No one taught me. There was no BBE group. There was no mentor. There was no coach who said you need to get your dang gear cleaned and calibrated. But here I am, so that you don't end up like me and you don't end up with like crappy photos when you've just kind of like outused your gear. Get your camera gear cleaned and calibrated. And I have a guy. I've got a guy for it. He actually lives inside this group. His name is Chris Bruyette. I will tag him in this video somewhere. And he has a camera cleaning and calibrating business. It's literally what he does for a living. His name's Chris Bruyette. His website is thespotlesscamera.com. And y'all, he's freaking awesome. He's freaking awesome. And not only is he like super talented, like with your camera, and he like treats them with love and tender care. Like y'all, I'm telling you, this dude is hilarious. Like he's so funny. He's so cool. He's so down to earth. When I dropped off my camera gear, like literally like my livelihood, I dropped him off with him. He lives in Lafayette, so it's about an hour and a half away. I said, okay, take care of my babies. Take care of my babies for me. He's like, oh girl, I got your babies. Later that evening, he sent me a video of him singing lullabies to my cameras and lenses because he was taking care of my babies. So you guys, utilize this man. He is gifted. He's talented. He loves you guys. He loves loving and serving you guys. Thespotlesscamera.com. And I'll tag him in here too. So I hope this was helpful. I know that this was a quick tip, but I hope you guys took a lot of notes. And remember, like if you are brand new, if you are brand spanking new and you're like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I joined this group, I started watching this video, and I'm like, what do I even do? Where do I even go? I got you. I got you. I have a free class that explains what you need, helps you figure out your camera, helps you take your first professional photo using manual mode, helps you know where to put your dog, where to put your kids, where to put your husband, what kind of light to put him in, so that you can be like, oh my gosh, like I can freaking do this. And it's free. It's an hour of your time. It's a free class. And I want you to watch it. I want you to join it. And I want you to stop wondering. I want you to stop getting in the endless, like, what do I do? Is she saying to do this? And just like watch this free class. Okay? I'm going to link it below. You can easily click it, sign up for it, and watch it. It'll be in your email. Okay? So that is our video today. Don't forget to watch the free class. I'm going to go back and look at the comments, and then I'll answer them in the comments. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the class.